Hello and welcome to the Watch Lucky channel where we bring you all the good and honest watch reviews. Welcome back to the studio. You're still looking at my dining table, and if you haven't done so, I'd like to remind you, please help me by subscribing to my channel, like my videos, and come back here every week because I've got new videos uploaded just for you. In today's video, we're going to do a very quick review of the Orient Kamasu Gen 2 LE. I unboxed this watch a couple of weeks back and I've spent some time with it, and I feel that it's a good time for me now to show you a little bit more about this LE here. So this model, the RA-AA0815L, this one here I think it was launched about 3 months ago, and it is launched along with two other models, which I think these are the second wave of the new Gen 2 color options, and I must say this one here is my pick of the bunch because it really looks great here with the blue and gold combination, and I think this two-tone look here really brings the Kamasu to a higher level in terms of aesthetics and design. And before I continue with the review, I'd like to take some time to thank our boutique and Eric for so generously and so kindly loaning me all these watches for my videos. Thank you very much, our boutique. Since the launch of the Kamasu in 2018, I think this watch here has become the de facto leader in terms of budget, good quality divers, alright? So you're really getting plenty of features for the money you're paying for now. Typically the Kamasu's Gen 1, Gen 2, new designs, old designs, they typically go for around 300 plus Singapore dollars or just below 300 Singapore dollars. And I think this is really good value for a diver because you're getting good features like sapphire crystal, and the build quality seriously isn't too shabby. So let me now just zoom in a little bit here and talk to you more on the specs of this watch here. It is exactly the same watch as previous Kamasu models, alright? It's got a 42mm case size, thickness here is 12.9mm. It's got a very short L to L here at around 46.8mm, and that really makes the watch wear very well and much smaller than the actual specs on paper would suggest. So all the other specifications of this watch here remain exactly the same. It's got aluminum bezel insert, 120 click bezel, sapphire crystal, flat sapphire crystal here on top. Not too sure if there's any AR coating. At the time of this video, the Orient Kamasu LE Gen 2 here goes for about $380 at our boutique. So if you want to get this watch, please drop by our boutique and have a nice chat with Eric. Pretty sure he'll give you a slightly better pricing. So again, there's really nothing much to say when it comes to the build quality and design of the Orient Kamasu. Alright, it is very reasonably well made for the money you're paying for. Alright, I very much welcome the brush case sides here of the Gen 2 Kamasus. Okay, one of the main dislikes that I have of the Gen 1, which I owned briefly, was that the case sides, they're polished, and with the brush finishing here, I really feel it is less of a fingerprint magnet, and I really like this new design feature. And now we're going to move on and talk about the dial here, right? So for me, it's definitely the star of the show here. The dial here, it's got that sunburst effect, and at the same time it's got a bit of texturing on the dial, as with all the Gen 2 Kamasus. So this model here being the LE, I believe they made 2,800 pieces of this model, and there is a slight upcharge for it, but I think it is well worth the premium because it really looks good here. Okay, I'm a big fan of the two-tone look. For this LE, they've left the center links to be all stainless steel, as opposed to most two-tone divers where the center link is gold plated. So I think this is really cool because if you were to get a gold center link here, I think it may be a bit much for people who are not used to the two-tone look. So let me just do a bit of a light play here on the dial. Alright, you can see the dial just looks beautiful as the sunburst effect comes into play as I move the watch dial here. Alright, so really nice looking, really handsome looking watch here with all the gold accents as well as the two-tone effect going on the bezel here. It is also interesting to note that while Orient has sort of used gold plating for the handset, the markers and the date frame, all right, they're still done in silver. Okay, so I think this one here obviously is to save cost. Could be an issue for some watch collectors out there who prefer everything to be uniform, all right. So once you've got gold accents, you've got two-tone look, people prefer everything to be gold-plated or gold rim or gold frame as well. But for me, it's not an issue. So I've just charged up the Lume here with my UV torch. Let me just quickly switch off the lights here and we'll check out the Lume here on the Orient Kamasu. And there you go. Alright, so the Lume brightness here is not quite Seiko level, not the insane levels of Seiko, but I would say it's not too shabby. Alright, given the fact that the Lume plots are much smaller than Seiko watches. Typically Seikos, they have very big markers, round or baton markers, they are just large and all that. So for the Kamasu, I would say being a dressier style of divers, they have sort of smaller markers and handsets and all that. So as it is, I think the Lume level is pretty decent. And here's a staged wrist shot here of the Kamasu on my wrist. Obviously the bracelet is not sized because this is a brand new watch, so I'm not going to do resizing of the bracelet, but I think the Kamasu is just a diver that wears so well despite 42mm case size, because in actual fact you're getting a pretty small dial and bezel dimension here, because the way it's designed, it sort of tapers up, and at the top here the actual diameter is much smaller than 42mm, and we've also got a really short L to L here. Alright, just under 47mm. Again, all these features they add on and give you a very good fit, and I think Kamasu here is a really great diver for daily wear. And now it's time to do a quick size comparison between the Orient Kamasu and one of my 42mm divers here. I've got a Glycine Combat here, Combat Sub, and both watches are listed as 42mm case size, but over here it does seem like the Glycine wears much bigger due to the fact that it's got a bigger bezel here. Alright, so in terms of case design here, you can see that there's almost no tapering as we move up towards the crystal, unlike the Kamasu here on my left. Okay, there is quite a bit of tapering coming up, and I think that's probably the reason why the Kamasu wears much smaller than its case size would suggest. And there you have it. That was my quick review of the Orient Kamasu LE. So this one here, if you're looking for a watch with two-tone color scheme and you don't want to break the bank, I think it is a really great option, because you're really getting a well-made watch with that gorgeous looking color combination. Alright, just take a look at this style here. Alright, the sunburst here, it's really handsome, especially when you put in some light play here. So if you like this watch, if you like this video, please come back here every week. I've got more videos uploaded for you. And this is the Watch Kaki from Singapore, along with George. We're saying goodbye for now. Bye bye.